Was hat sich damals durchgetan, als sie gewähren, weil Daber Lekimes Koladworim heil. Früher hatten das gehört von Rosh Hashiva, Bismarck hat das gehört von Moshe Rabbeinu, Bismarck hat das gehört von Yankiv und Yitzchak und von Echador Hoyavro. Ist selbstverständlich, die Sture, mit welcher sie haben gelernt, mit diesem Terror, und hat gelernt als gute Melandim und Mechanchim, hat das als sehr Peil gewähnt bei den Schemen, bei den Talmidim. Afal Pikeni, das nach Hals, die Inja, wie das ist, mit der Tachtenim, sind noch nicht Bottel geworden, die Gseele von Aljenim, Lejedele Tachtenim. Schaße gekommen, Shisha Besiva, hat man gegeben, die alle Unionen, in was veraneifen, wie das ist, weil Daber Elikim, es Kol hat Dvorim Oelu, und nechet Leime, wie der Obzeichen drauf in Terische Balpe, hat der Rebischter hat das Gerät in Asamin Leifen zu jeder Rieden, als Seif Kol Haderis, also werden Leime, hat noch konnte Said übersagen, mit demselben Sturm qua Jochel, wie hat das gehört von dem Elikim, wie hat das gehört von dem Rebischten. Was hat damals macht es über den ganzen Zugang und das macht über die ganze Kabbalas Unionen, wie man sagt das bei Pashtus und Apostelche bei Pschutim versteht das, aber Schaß hört das von dem größten Menschen. Schaß aber hört das von den Nebischen allein und mit dem Binaneifen, was war jeder Hawaii al-Har Sinai, wie Rashi Teitschlof mit der ganzen Merkov und mit allen Malochim und Bechol Hoinyonen und hat sich damals aufgegeben mit jeder Rieden bis Mejatzne und Neche Hawaii Lekecha Loschen Jochi, asher heiße Sicha Loschen Jochi und als die Dvorim Shele Achrise versteht auch viele Apostel, die bepschutim, aber das Gor aneinander Amiro, wie Dibur, Benele das Gor ineinander reifen, die Schmio, und das Gor ineinander reifen, wie das da noch Mikayim, mit Pashtus.
Bracha soll sein, Kamel Chacham.
Und wir bekommen Mame zum Toppling. Wenn er der Gott ist, dann sein, dann kann es schaffen.
Aber was kann ich denn selbst bringen, Monsieur?
Amen. Das lernt man Sachteil. Da komme früher.
Ja, so verstehe das, das ist sehr schwer.
Und wir waren gute Psychis, wir waren Menschen, sagen, wir lieben dort Teile, die haben schneller Maschine.
He's studying to be a rabbi from Rav Shechter, who's here this afternoon.
Yeah.
He is a Talmud. He's a Talmud. He's going to get smicha from Rav Shechter next year, Mitzvah Hashem.
Dann will man gute Schule, Land. Nicht mehr Zwiche. Dann Zwiche und Lamdonne, dann Zwiche mit Lamdonne.
Das ist ein Stück Teure gemacht. Ein Stück Teure gemacht in China.
Was ist noch ein Stückel? Also, ich will doch machen ein Stück, nicht ein Stückel. Das ist ein guter Psyche. Das ist ein Madian. Psyche steht.
Geht zurück lernen, in welchem die Woche, geht zurück mit Chabin, kann ich zwar lernen.
Was ist er? Mapsi gewesen?
Also auf da ranzukommen, noch hat
Kann nicht sein. Der Rossi und Nossi kann nicht Mapsi gewesen. Das Psyche steht, sollte man so in der Sakede, und dann die City Jerusalem, sind Tere, die Tere selbst ist so. Das ist hier, da geht es geduscht, wie es dann doch so weit, zweimal was nicht.
Taila Talmidim, my name is Herschel Garari, and I have the schus to be a shliach of the Rebbe at Penn State University, which is a very, very large university in the middle of Pennsylvania with around, 4,000 Jewish students. And it is very, very exciting. And my big schus to bring with you a little bit as we are coming a few days before Shavuos. Shavuos is a time of Matan Torah. Shavuos is a time that we rededicate ourselves and think about how we're going to be proud Yidden, learning Torah, doing mitzvahs, and proud Chassidim, as the Rebbe teaches us. A funny, cute story comes to mind. It's really a Simchas Torah story, but I think it has a message for Shavuos. A few years ago, Simchas Torah, we had a student, and his name is David. And David is a very geschmack student, and he grew a lot in his Yiddishkeit, and he went for a few weeks to yeshiva, and he came back on fire, where he started wearing his yarmulke and tzitzis on campus, which is no easy feat to be such a proud Yid on a campus with 45,000 students. And he came for Simchas Torah, and we were farbrengen about the word, I think, of the Rebbe Rashab, that on Simchas Torah, through Simcha, you could accomplish more than you accomplish, even Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Through seriousness, you could accomplish on Simchas Torah, through dancing and Simcha. And it says that on Simchas Torah, you actually bring down buckets of brachas, buckets of blessings by dancing. I know it's Shavuos, but here's a quick Simchas Torah story. So we were dancing at Kafas, and we didn't have a lot of students for our Kafas. A few students, maybe 7 students, who were dancing, me and the other shliach, and we started singing, "Fill your buckets, buckets, buckets." Anyways, we were singing that the whole night. Not the whole night. I don't know. Our Kafas ended at 11 o'clock, 11:30. And then David and a bacher from Tiferes, who was helping us, danced back to our house. And we came back to the house. We danced a little more in the house. And then David danced to his apartment. Anyways, the next day, David came a little late to shul. And he said, you wouldn't believe it. He said, I got into bed and I couldn't stop dancing. You said you bring down blessings through dancing. So I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't stop dancing. So what I did was, David tells me, I danced all the way to a certain park, which was like a half-hour dance, half-hour walk from his apartment. And he started dancing in this park at 2 a.m. Fill your buckets, buckets, buckets. Anyways, before he knows it, he was surrounded by 8 police officers trying to figure out why is a guy in the middle of the night dancing. He said, what are you doing? Are you drunk? He said, no. Is everything all right? Are you normal? He said, it's a Jewish holiday. He says, where's your ID? He says, I don't have ID. It's a holiday. I can't carry ID. They Googled to see if he was saying the truth, and they found out that he was Taka, it was Simchas Torah, and they said, we've seen a lot of crazy things in this town, never such a thing, and they sent him home. Cute story. Why I'm sharing it today is Shavuos is a day that we became Yidden, a day that we received the Torah. It's a day that we have to be very besimcha about it, not only about the cheesecake and the blintzes. It's a day that we have to realize Ashreinu matay chalkeinu, that we're Yidden, Ashreinu matay chalkeinu, that we're Chassidim. We have to be so excited we can walk in the street with our yarmulke and our tzitzis going, flying all over the place, or tucked in if you're a little organized, however you like it. We have to be such proud of Yidden. And when people are going to see Yidden, Yiddish Kindalach, walking around, excited, freilach, happy to be a Yid, just that happiness. Students and parents always tell us, Rabbi, you're always happy. You know, a lot of these parents have fancier cars than I do. They have a bigger house than I do. They have a lot more money than I do. But what they miss by what they're jealous of is our simcha. And that simcha comes that we're Yidden. That simcha comes our Chassidim. And that gift we were given on Shavuos. So Shavuos is the time we have to rethink how lucky we are to be Yidden, how lucky we are to have a Torah, to have mitzvahs. And we have to be proud of that. Now, as Chassidim, one of the things that we have to be proud of is that not only we're Yidden, but we're able to share that with others. And it's so important. I know some of you are bar mitzvah already, and you Baruch Hashem have a pair of tefillin. You have to remember that pair of tefillin as a chassid is not for you. It is for you, but it's not only for you. The pair of tefillin is to share with others. And therefore, a few years ago, it was probably a bunch of years ago, 10, 11 years ago, a chaver of mine told me that he made a achlata on Rosh Hashanah to carry his tefillin wherever he goes. So I made the same achlata. And Baruch Hashem, more or less, wherever I go, I always have a pair of tefillin. I don't always do mivtzayim, but I always have my tefillin just in case. So like 2 years ago, more or less, I was in a building on campus with my wife. We had a meeting with other Jewish organizations, and it was in a building on campus that was for other religious groups. So the Yidden and Lahavdalal Goyisha groups. And it's called the Spiritual Center. And the head of this spiritual center's name is Bob Smith. Okay, nice guy. I met him once or twice. Didn't think, Anyways, so my wife was in the building. So, part of my job is to get along with everybody. So I introduced my wife to Bob and we're schmoozing. My wife asked him, so Bob, where do you come from? Where are your ancestors from? And he says, my great-grandmother was Jewish and they escaped Germany right before the war. And I'm like, Bob, what side of the family are you Jewish? What side was your grandmother? He said, my mother's mother. So I said, Bob, that means you're Jewish. He said, okay, whatever. I wasn't brought up Jewish. And then before I could even blurt it out, my wife said, Bob, would you like to put on tefillin? And he said, sure. So we put on tefillin. We said, Shema and Baruch Shem, and we want Mashiach now. And that's it. I told him Mazel Tov on your bar mitzvah, and that's what we did. Anyways, later that night, at like 11:15 at night, and I still have this email, Bob sends me an email. Thank you so much. It was so nice meeting your wife. And he says, Rabbi, you have to explain to me this bar mitzvah thing because I've been smiling ever since. And anyways, I had a meeting with him. We started Farbrengen what it means to be a Yid, etc., etc. This guy's in his 50s, never knew he was a Yid. Put on tefillin with him. I started putting on tefillin with him more and more. Started learning more, learning about Yiddishkeit, learning about the Rebbe. I got him some books. And Baruch Hashem, he started getting closer to Yiddishkeit. And one Yud Shvat, I told him, Bob, he always pushed off buying his own pair of tefillin because of financial reasons. I said, Bob, the Rebbe says you have to have shtus tektusha. You got to buy yourself a pair of tefillin. Baruch Hashem, he bought himself a pair of tefillin, and he puts on tefillin every day now. Recently, he was reading on Chabad.org about yarmulke, and we spoke about that also, and he started wearing a yarmulke almost every day. You have to imagine, this guy works in a university. He goes to meetings with high people up in this university. It's a fancy place, or a chashuva place in the Welt. And he wears a yarmulke proudly. And it's amazing. He was brought up, I just want to tell you, his brother was a troubled person. He already passed away. His brother, Nebuch, had a Nazi flag in his room because he hated Yidden. His brother didn't know he was Jewish. And that's how he brought up. And now he has tefillin and he wears a yarmulke, and I brought him to the oil in the 770. My point of the story is, imagine I didn't have my tefillin with me that day. He would have said he's Jewish. I would have said, very nice, invite the gefarim. I don't know what would have happened. But because Baruch Hashem had my tefillin with me, and I put on tefillin, now we have a guy who found out in his 50s he's a Yid, and now he's not only puts on tefillin every day, wears a yarmulke, but he helps out a lot in the Chabad house, v'chulu, v'chulu. So it's very, very, very important to remember that part of our pride of being Yid and Chassidim and having tefillin is not only for our own Yiddishkeit, but it's to be able to inspire others and help others. So make sure, whether you go on a Mivtzoyim route, or maybe a plumber comes to fix something in your house, make sure to ask them if they're a Yid, put on tefillin with them. You're going on the plane, you're traveling, obviously Corona things are different, but if you could do it, if it's not a problem, make sure to always have your tefillin with you and carry your tefillin. Another interesting story about the power of limud Torah, of learning Torah. There's nothing like learning Torah. And I don't know if you appreciate this yet in 7th and 8th grade. I could tell you when I was in 7th and 8th grade, I didn't. But now, Baruch Hashem, I don't have a lot of time to learn Torah. I mean, that's not Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, I'm very busy on Shlichus. With Corona, I have a lot more time, and it's amazing. I'm able to learn a lot more Torah. But I have to learn so much Torah. Anyways, in our Chabad house, we live in a house. And Baruch Hashem, the crowds are growing. We just finished our fifth school year on Shlichus. and we're out of space. This year we had to put a tent on our deck. So Baruch Hashem, we decided that we're going to build an extension to our house, be able to fit more students. It's a very big project. It keeps on becoming bigger and bigger. It keeps becoming more expensive. Anyways, it's around $1 million project. And this Hanukkah, right after Hanukkah, I went to New York for a 2-week fundraising trip to try to raise money for this project. And I scheduled one day, because it's vacation, students aren't there, I scheduled one day of my fundraising trip that I'm going to go to yeshiva for a day. So I could learn, connect to the Eibishter, connect to Chassidus, connect to the Rebbe in a very good, open, revealed way. And learn Torah. It's geschmack. It's important. You got to stay recharged. You got to stay plugged in. And I could tell you this fundraising trip to New York was a failure. People who I was supposed to meet canceled the meetings. People that I did meet didn't give me money. I was very, very frustrated. I was very down. And then came the day. It was a Thursday. I drove to Morristown. Woke up 6:30 in the morning. I drove to Morristown. Say the Chassidus, Davin, say the Nigla. It was amazing. And I shut my phone off. I didn't need my phone. I didn't want it to disturb me. So I shut my phone off so I could sit and learn Torah. And anyways, in the middle of the day, I put my phone on so I could listen to a shir that was on my phone. I was learning Gemara with a certain shir, and I was behind in the shir, so I had to catch up. So I turned on my phone, and I got a message from a person who, I don't want to give too many details, but basically gave me 5 times what I thought they would give me. A massive amount of money. Crazy. And this was all b'schus. It was all the day that I didn't even ask them. I didn't even expect it. The day I went and sat and learned Torah was the day, my entire fundraising trip, the only day I got a normal amount, a crazy amount of money. I'm sharing this story to tell you is that the Eibishter Fir Tavel, Hashem is running the world. Shouldn't worry. It's going to be good. We're going to get through this corona. Mashiach's going to come. It's going to be all good. But our connection and where our hashpah comes from is our connection to the Eibishter and our connection to Torah. And therefore, with Shavuos coming up, number 1, we have to make sure we're proud Yidden. And we're freilach. We're happy that we're Chassidim. We're happy that we're Yidden. That's number 1. Number 2, we have to realize we have to share that with others. Like in the second story. We have to share that with others and give that and put the Gom of Tzayim, etc., etc. And then finally we have to realize, Chavra, we have to push it as much as we can, learn a lot of Torah. And a big brachas will come to your life. You'll learn a lot of Torah. Everyone on your level, 7th and 8th grade, start learning Chitas, little Mishnayos, maybe some Gemara, look at the Sikha every week. You guys are home now. If you're able to learn it with the older brother, or with a chavrasa on the Zoom, or with your parents, whatever, everyone who could do it, learn a little bit more Torah, go into Shavuos you're going to go into Simcha, and the main thing is that hopefully before Shavuos, Mashiach will already be here, and we can celebrate together, Malkeinu B'Reishenu, and you should all have Kabbalas HaTorah B'Simcha U'B'Pnimius L'chaim.